I always thought HOA drama meant overgrown lawns or mailbox colors, not police handcuffs glinting under porch lights. But that's exactly how my quiet little neighborhood turned into a crime scene, all because of a stolen steak dinner. When I moved into Birchwood Commons, I thought I'd found peace. It was the kind of neighborhood that looked straight out of a real estate ad, matching mailboxes, identical fences, and smiles that lasted exactly as long as the conversation. I work from home as a software developer, which means I run on caffeine, code, and takeout. After a brutal week of debugging, I decided to celebrate with my favorite steakhouse order: ribeye, garlic mash, and a bottle of red. My phone pinged. Driver has arrived. Perfect timing. 5 minutes later, I was still waiting. No knock, no doorbell, just hunger and confusion. When I checked the app, my stomach dropped. The delivery photo showed a teal door. Not mine. I called the driver. He sounded baffled. The lady said she was expecting it, he told me. He even gave me your name. That's how I met Margaret Hale, the self-proclaimed queen of Birchwood Commons. Early 60s. Hair so precise it could deflect radar. She ran the HOA like it was a military installation, and she was the general. I recognized the teal door and walked 3 houses down. When she opened, the smell of my steak hit me like a punch. "Excuse me," I said as politely as possible. "I think the driver accidentally delivered my order here." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. The HOA has a strict policy against food deliveries after 6 p.m. on weekdays. Section 12.3, if you'd read the guidelines." Then came the kicker. "As HOA president, it's my duty to enforce those rules. Consider this a friendly first warning." I blinked. "That's my dinner. I paid for it." Her tone never wavered. "I've already disposed of it properly. You'll receive a written notice tomorrow. Welcome to Birchwood Commons." The door clicked shut. I just stood there, $75 lighter, starving and wondering what kind of parallel universe I'd just moved into. Sure enough, the next morning there it was. An official HOA violation notice in my mailbox. Rule 12.3, a rule that didn't actually exist. I emailed the board. Nothing but auto replies. Fine, I thought, let it go. It's just one meal. Except it wasn't. Every time I ordered delivery after that, the same thing happened. The food vanished before it reached my porch. Sometimes she told drivers I'd canceled the order. Sometimes she claimed I wasn't home. Once, she even pretended to be my spouse. "He's tied up in a meeting. I'll take it for him." By the time I realized the pattern, I lost almost $300. I started documenting everything. Screenshots, receipts, timestamps. Then I installed a doorbell camera. At the next community meeting, I tried to bring it up calmly. The other residents shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "She's been president for nearly 10 years, one whispered after. "Last year she had the Henderson's tree cut down while they were on vacation. Said it dropped too many leaves on the sidewalk," another added. "She fined the Millers because their daughter drew chalk art on the driveway." Everyone had a story. No one had ever stood up to her. That's when I realized this wasn't about food anymore. It was about control. So I decided to stop fighting fair. I placed an absurd order from the most expensive French restaurant in town. Over $500 worth of food and wine. Wagyu tartare, truffle risotto, desserts so fancy they came in glass jars. I wasn't buying dinner. I was setting bait. Through the window, I watched the delivery car roll into our cul-de-sac. And right on cue, Margaret Hale appeared, power walking like she owned the street. "Community regulations require me to accept all deliveries," she told the driver. The poor guy hesitated, then handed everything over. I stayed calm. Didn't confront her. Instead, I called the non-emergency police line. "My neighbor has been taking my deliveries," I said evenly. "I have video evidence, including tonight's incident. Value over $500. 20 minutes later, 2 patrol cars glided into Birchwood Commons, lights flashing softly. From my window, I watched the officers knock on her door. She answered with that same icy poise. For a moment, I thought she'd talk her way out of it. But then I saw it. The shift from confidence to panic. One officer walked toward me. "Your neighbor says she's confiscating the deliveries under HOA rules," he explained. I showed him my phone, the bylaws, the footage, the receipts. His expression hardened. "And the value of the order?" $523.47, I replied. He nodded. "Please wait here." From my driveway, I watched the conversation escalate. Gestures, shouting, disbelief. Then one officer reached for his handcuffs. She was led to the cruiser, wrists behind her back, disbelief painted across her face. It was surreal. That night, an officer returned to take my statement. "Your neighbor is being detained for suspected theft over $500, he said. "She claimed she was disposing of food for community safety. But we found your entire order in her refrigerator. The wine was still unopened." He gave a faint smile. Apparently, HOA presidents don't actually have law enforcement powers. The next evening, the community center was packed. Emergency HOA meeting. One item on the agenda, Margaret Hale. For the first time, people spoke freely. Stories poured out. Years of intimidation, nitpicking, and fines over nonsense. When it was my turn, I didn't say a word. I just played the footage from my doorbell camera, Margaret intercepting deliveries at all hours, in her robe, in gardening gloves, on her phone like she was directing air traffic. The room went silent except for the audio. Community regulations require me to accept all deliveries. By the end, the board voted unanimously to remove her. The vice president, a mild-mannered accountant, announced a full audit of HOA finances. For the first time since I had moved in, Birchwood Commons actually felt like a community, not a dictatorship. 2 days later, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Margaret, but not the woman I'd met before. Her perfect hair hung flat. Her eyes were red. She clutched a designer purse like a shield. "My attorney says I need to make restitution," she said softly, holding out an envelope. "This covers everything you lost, plus interest." I took it, nodded. Thank you," she lingered, searching my face. Maybe she wanted forgiveness. Maybe pity, I asked quietly. Was it worth it? All that effort, all that control over something so small? Her mask cracked. "You don't understand," she whispered. "I gave everything to maintain standards here. Now I might lose my real estate license, my career, my reputation. All over this. Misunderstanding." For the first time, she wasn't terrifying. Just human. "That wasn't my intention," I said. "I just wanted to eat my dinner in peace." She opened her mouth to reply, but my phone chimed. The sound was bright and familiar. I glanced at the screen, smiled, and said, "Excuse me, that's my lunch delivery. And this time, I think it'll actually make it to my door."